Thanks, Jenna. So today I'm excited to welcome Lanyea Griffin. She currently serves as the Deputy Chief of Program Implementation for the Illinois Tollway, where she is responsible for simultaneously managing numerous Phase 2 and Phase 3 projects. Her work focuses on delivering major capital projects on time and within budget, including some of the biggest projects in the Tollway's 15-year, $14 billion capital program, Move Illinois, the Illinois Tollway Driving the Future. Since joining the Tollway in 2013, Ms. Griffin has overseen design and construction of roadways and interchanges valued at about $3 billion. This includes the construction of the Tri-State Tollway I-57 interchange and design of the Jane Addams Memorial Tollway I-90 rebuilding and widening project from the Elgin Toll Plaza to the Kennedy Expressway. She is currently providing oversight of the $4 billion Central Tri-State Tollway project from 95th Street to Balmoral Avenue. Ms. Griffin earned her Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering from Northwestern University and served as a civil engineer in the Air Force National Guard. She is a licensed professional engineer in Illinois and a lead accredited professional in building design and construction. Welcome.
Well, thank you both to Jenna and Karen for that wonderful introduction. And I'm going to share my screen here. So hopefully you can all see the slides, and thanks again to Karen and Jenna and ITE Illinois for the invitation to talk about the Central Tri-State. I'm surprised that people are still interested, but it is good. It's a great project. My comms department at the Tollway put together this presentation for me, and to my surprise, when I opened it, I thought it was such an interesting coincidence that I'm speaking to a group of traffic engineers, and the picture shown here has a great story attached to it. A little bit of background, the Tollway prides itself on doing construction without reducing mainline lanes. When people are paying to be on your system, you want to minimize the disruption to their travel as much as possible. And keeping all lanes open is one way we accomplish that. In the section of roadway pictured here, there's a 2-mile stretch of road between the on and off ramps at the 294-55 interchange. Due to the reduced mainline traffic from people getting off our system to get onto I-55, we were able to drop down to 3 lanes in this section, which helped us tremendously during construction. This picture was chosen for me, but I thought it was really interesting that this slide shows the importance of traffic engineering during construction and design. A little bit more info about the Central Tri-State project. Budgeted at $4 billion, the project is the largest undertaken by the Tollway to date. We are reconstructing and widening the existing 22-mile segment from Balmoral Avenue to 95th Street, along with integrating several major infrastructure projects and implementing the latest technology that will ultimately provide congestion relief, meet the transportation demands of today and the future, and address regional needs. Construction began in 2018, and we are on track to substantially complete this project by the end of 2026. I'm sure many of you have seen this slide before, but if you haven't, it shows the breadth of improvements to be made along the corridor, including many interchange improvements, many sections of widening, and the addition of a flex lane throughout the corridor. Keep in mind, this was not the original project that the Tollway planned to build as part of our 15-year, $14 billion Move Illinois capital program. The Central Tri-State was the last piece of original 1957 tollway system that needed to be rebuilt. It carries the heaviest volume of passenger and freight traffic on the tollway system. The corridor serves about 220,000 vehicles a day and generates the most revenue out of any other corridor to serve the tollway system. When we reached the point in the Move Illinois program to begin design for the Central Tri-State, which was initially slated for a reconstruct in kind, meaning we were going to put back the exact number of lanes that were originally there, we were just going to rebuild them. The Tollway looked at the data and the lessons learned from our most recent projects, rebuilding of I-90 and delivering the new Illinois 390 Tollway, and we knew the plans needed to change. We used traffic data to support changing it. So based on the 2040 traffic data projections, we knew rebuilding in kind would not be enough to serve our customers. With existing traffic volumes, the area already had twice the amount of congestion delays when compared to the entire system. Rather than a rebuilding as is, the justification was there for reconstruct and widening where needed, reconstructing the mile-long bridge to add capacity and eliminating pinch points at the BNSF Railroad and 2 Oasis. If the tollway decided not to widen the corridor, there would be significant increase in travel times based on 2040 traffic volumes. The southbound side during peak morning travel, the travel time would increase by more than 150%, or an additional 36 minutes to daily commutes. On the northbound side during peak travel, the time would increase by more than 120%, or an additional 29 minutes of daily time added to commutes. We know that we can't build ourselves out of all traffic demand, and so we also have to incorporate technology in our proposed design. The most effective way to address this congestion well into the future was to deliver a state-of-the-art roadway. So we use smart road technology, offering active traffic management and flex lane opportunities that we included on the Central Tri-State based on the successes that we've already seen on I-90 following that project's rebuilding and widening. So project planning, once it was decided we would do a much bigger program, we had to figure out how to actually deliver it. So we made a plan for delivery, including incorporating some lessons learned from previous projects, that we needed to be strategic about how we package the projects and contracts in order to keep work progressing and as many lanes as possible of traffic moving. With such a long corridor of 22 miles, we looked at ways to essentially shrink the corridor and put it in meaningful segments. So we took the corridor and focused on the 3 main segments for rebuilding and widening. The north segment goes from Balmoral Avenue to North Avenue, shown in pink. And, the central segment goes from North Avenue to I-55. And the south segment, shown in blue and yellow. And then the south segment goes from I-55 to 95th Street, and that is shown here in orange. By this time next year, we hope to be substantially complete with the orange and pink segments and be gearing up for the major start of the blue and yellow segments. In our upfront planning, we also identified key projects within the overall project, including the Mile Long Bridge, the Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railway Bridge, BNSF. Starting these projects in advance of substantial mainline work allows us to utilize widened pavement and larger openings at 2 major locations along the corridor. In addition, we took into account the need to coordinate with the I-490 team to build the new I-294 interchange, along with new tollway access at North Avenue. All previous successes and challenges were evaluated and considered to optimize delivery of the CTS corridor. So we started with 3 main objectives in mind: perform as much work in advance of mainline construction as possible, keep contracts under a 3-year duration, return mainline tollway to customers as soon as possible, and include wrap-up contracts which minimize traffic impacts. So essentially what that last one means is we'll provide all the pavement to the customers as soon as possible, and then put the wrap-up contracts like our landscaping and things like that after we complete the pavement, and that way we won't impact traffic, but we still have a little bit of work to do. So we call them substantially complete when we get the pavement back to the customers. Today, 4 years into the project, we have construction underway on more than 12 mainline miles of corridor. So I would say don't drive it, but that's probably counter to what the tollway would like me to say. Additional work throughout the corridor includes many advanced work and enabling projects as well. It's hard to believe, but we are headed to the mid-year point of this project, and we have made significant progress. Some of that progress includes the work I'll describe here. So while construction is visible throughout the corridor, so is our progress. The mainline rehab and widening of the northernmost part of the project was completed in 2020 between Balmoral Avenue and the O'Hare Oasis. And so people are already taking advantage of additional pavement in that segment. The new northbound, newer pavement in that segment. The new northbound Mile Long Bridge structure was completed and open to traffic in 2020, which was a significant success. Repair and rehab of local crossroad bridges, including Cermak Road, 31st Street, 47th Street, 55th, 5th Avenue Cutoff, and Willow Springs Road have been completed. In addition, a lot less visible work had to take place to get us in a good position to be able to hit the ground running when we start construction. Some of that work included addressing utility impacts and relocations, and sewer and stormwater work, which have been critical to our success so far. Our goal was to have the utility work orders executed prior to construction advertisements to incorporate information into the bids. The CTS team engaged in early and often interaction with the utility agencies, and including ComEd, AT&T, Comcast, CenturyLink, Verizon, and Nicor. We also got a head start by prioritizing stormwater work with coordination with MWRD, Flag Creek, and the Water Reclamation District. Again, although we've gone through a lot, we've gotten a lot done, we still have quite a bit of work to do. So our work continues again within that 12-mile section. Anyone driving the Central Tri-State Corridor today will see the ongoing work as we approach major milestones in 2022. The Illinois Tollway is reconstructing the BNSF Railroad, which carries triple track railroad over the Tri-State between Hinsdale and Western Springs. Completion of the new Shoe-Fly bypass bridge was done in 2020, provided for uninterrupted freight and commuter rail operations during bridge reconstruction, which is a massive thing to recognize, because just as the Central Tri-State carries so much of the tollways traffic, this railway at BNSF carries so much traffic for BNSF and Metro. They are very similar in scope. And so we were able to keep their 3 lanes open, just like we were able to keep our 4 lanes open. So I'm forever impressed by that. On average, approximately 104 Metro and Amtrak trains cross the bridge daily, as well as 52 daily freight trains. By the end of this year, we will be completely cut over back to the original 3 tracks with a new 4th bump out track. In 2022, we are scheduled to complete the project, which provides the new $96 million BNSF Railway Bridge as a longer, wider, 2-span steel beam structure that will allow for reconstruction and widening of the tollway underneath. Also in 2022, the new southbound mile-long bridge structure is scheduled to open by the end of that year. The mile-long bridge carries traffic over 2 major railroads, the Des Plaines River, the Chicago Sanitary and Ship Canal, and the Illinois-Michigan Canal and local roads, as well as several major distribution centers, including UPS and the BNSF. The $500 million mile-long bridge project will deliver 2 side-by-side 4,800-foot long structures that will increase capacity from 4 to 5 lanes in both directions and accommodate what we call the flex lane. The entire mile-long bridge project is scheduled to be completed by 2023. Again, that's about providing the lanes to traffic in advance of finishing all the ancillary work that goes along. So the mainline traffic lanes will be done by 22 and ancillary work completed by 23. I should also note significant progress underway on southern sections of the Central Tri-State between I-55 and 95th Street, and between, on the north section, North Avenue and the O'Hare Oasis. We are currently rebuilding and widening the roadway to add 1 or more flex lanes in both directions, as well as reconstructing shoulders, including flex lanes. We advanced work in both of those segments, and they are on schedule to fully deliver improvements by 2023. So I'm going to go over some of the highlights, some of my favorite projects that I've been working on so far on this job, some of which were not envisioned even after we thought we would do a $4 billion program. So one of the biggest ones is 87th and Roberts Road, which I'll start with here. So this sincerely is one of my favorite projects, not just because Paulino's on the phone from Cook County, but it's also one of the more challenging. It's I-294 over 87th and Roberts Road, where there's an intersection crisscrossing underneath the bridge. When originally constructed, the northbound and southbound configuration were significantly different, with 2 bridges originally on the southbound side and 1 bridge on the northbound side. A later widening of I-294 resulted in the need for a deep beam spanning both underlying roads. This was a very complex structure, with some portions of the structure actually being 2 bridges and another part of the structure being on 1 long bridge, all connected. After much review and discussion, we made the decision to revise the concept of the bridges over 87th and Roberts and build 2 massive structures that span both the roadways in the intersection and eliminate the need for fracture critical support. The final concept is a conventional bridge with no skew that also provides for significant improvement underneath the bridge and conventional construction methods. We also were able to add a right turn from 87th Street to Roberts, which became possible because we opened the bridge up. There's been extensive coordination and cooperation with Hickory Hills, the Village of Justice, Bridgeview, and Cook County. While we are improving travel on I-294 and local roads below, we are also making improvements at this intersection for improved local traffic and safety. Other benefits include wider sidewalks, open space, customized aesthetics, including transparent acrylic noise abatement walls, and less maintenance. Overall, a great improvement for the tollway and the surrounding communities. My other favorite segment here is the segment that actually carries the most traffic, and that's between I-55 and I-290. So mainline construction between North Avenue and I-55 is currently scheduled to begin in 2022 and continue through 26. This is the blue segment from the color graphic that I showed earlier. The tollway will rebuild and widen the roadway and deliver new smart road infrastructure, as well as reconstructed shoulders, including adding the flex lanes. As part of the existing conditions analysis, major points of recurring congestion and delay were identified at northbound I-294 near I-55 and the Hansale Oasis, and also between southbound I-294 and the 290 interchange. This is, again, the busiest segment of the entire corridor as it connects 3 major interchanges. The new mainline design between 55 and 290 calls for adding 2 additional lanes in each direction from I-55 to 290 for a total of 6 northbound and 6 southbound lanes. So this graphic is slightly incorrect. We had a general graphic for the whole corridor. So the added capacity, add another lane here, because this is 2 lanes will be added in each direction. Significant segment. The mainline roadway improvements in this section will provide significant benefits, including adding capacity to accommodate heavy freight movement, eliminating delays for mainline through traffic, and most significantly, delivering mobility and safety improvements with dedicated lanes for merging, exiting interstate traffic, and eliminating weaving. A lot of INGs. So the final crown jewel of the corridor is the 290-88 interchange at 294, affectionately known as the Berkeley-Elmhurst interchange. Untangling the I-290-88 interchange at 294 will reduce congestion, improve safety, and address operational issues as well as infrastructure conditions. This interchange is not only an important connection for commuter and local traffic, but also an important part of the freight network. With more than 300,000 vehicles using the interchange every day, this is one of the most notorious interchanges for backups. Estimated at 500 to 600 million, the Berkeley-Elmhurst interchange project at 294 is scheduled to be substantially complete by the end of 2026. Given the magnitude of the project, I'm actually going to show a video here, which will explain it better than I could.
We lost sound. Can you unmute?
City of Chicago,
Thank you.
northeastern Illinois, and beyond. Unfortunately, this specific interchange experiences the greatest amount of congestion of the entire tollway system and delays drivers every day as they travel through this choke point, impacting travelers, businesses, and local communities. Drivers come to a near stop on some segments of the roadway, causing extensive backups and creating safety concerns. As heavy freight trucks line up to merge onto I-290 from I-294 northbound, they are forced to dramatically reduce speeds in order to handle the tight curve of the ramp. Trucks then struggle to increase speeds as they are forced up a steep incline. The interchange experiences additional issues as drivers are forced to cut across heavy traffic to merge onto I-88. Overall, the issues related to the interchange cause substantial backups in all directions, costing drivers and businesses lost time and money as motorists and commerce are stranded in traffic. Together with Illinois Department of Transportation, the Federal Highway Administration, Cook County, and DuPage County, the tollway has studied alternative solutions to improve the interchange to relieve congestion and backups. Changes will improve ramp speeds and connections. Drivers will experience improved travel speeds. Improvements will reduce merging and allow drivers to move more freely through the interchange. As a region, we will work to improve this choke point so that commuters, travelers, and commerce can more efficiently travel through the region to their destination. For more information, visit IllinoisTollway.com.
All right. So that gave the overview of the entire interchange. Now I'm going to focus on a couple of movements. The first one is the northbound I-294 to westbound 290. So on this movement, I'm going to focus just on this loop ramp. What happens here is trucks get delayed, as was said in the previous video as well. They're trying to navigate this tight loop ramp and then have to then overcome the steep climb to get onto I-290. And so it causes the trucks more than anybody to kind of back everything up and causes many miles of delay. Then I'm going to skip ahead a little bit to what we're planning to do to fix it. Excuse me for not looking at you, my videos to the right. So what we're doing here is building a bridge. I'll back up just a little bit. We're building a bridge over Butterfield, over the railroad, over 290, and then taking that underneath 294 to eliminate that loop and climb. They still will have to climb, but it's a much more gradual to get back onto 290. Pretty impressive movement. We call it the fly under. The final movement I'll show is for traffic going from 290 eastbound to 88 westbound and 294 southbound. So this is just the project area showing the existing route for both ramps, both movements, I should say. It's a little difficult to see, but over on the left-hand side, you can see how the traffic pattern is today versus the big one shows what we're proposing. So you have to decide just about at Electric Avenue, southbound, to go onto 294 and 88. As opposed to existing, it was just the 88 exit ramp, and then you'd have to make a separate decision at I-294. And then it becomes, when we get back to 294, it is still a decision point here, whether or not you're going on 294 south or 88 west. And then the 88 west ramp becomes barrier separated to keep that large queue that used to happen, that today happens, from 290 eastbound to 88 westbound. And the traffic doesn't have to mix, which is really sophisticated solution. So overall, we're very pleased with the design work and efforts that went into these modifications. And the proposed 88 ramp is a little under a mile, starting just south of Electric Avenue. At that decision point, again, drivers are choosing to go 294 southbound or 88 westbound, cutting out a lot of merging between 88 and 294 even. So overall, the improvements to the interchange provide a sophisticated 21st century geometric solution to the traffic problems experienced at this interchange. The designer was able to provide the solution with minimal impacts to existing right-of-way, which is truly impressive. All right, so one final note, the Tollway has a tremendous amount of project information on our website. If you'd like to keep up to date on the Central Tri-State Tollway project, not only can we do more presentations for you, but you can also visit our projects by roadway page at the IllinoisTollway.com. Projects like this don't happen without support from the communities and the counties and the other government agencies that we're involved with. For that reason, throughout project development, we had many stakeholder outreach meetings. So when the shutdown occurred, we had to figure out a way to use technology to help us stay keep people informed and find out what their concerns were that we could address. So we created this Central Tri-State virtual open house, and that is also available on our website, and it includes maps, construction updates, camera views, and virtual drive-through of the I-294 corridor. And that is all I've got. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. That was such an interesting presentation. I certainly appreciated the video perspective of existing conditions versus kind of the planned improvements, which will certainly be an improvement. Just a reminder, participants can put their questions in the Q&A box, and we do have a few questions if you've got time for us. The first question is, will the 290 fly under require digging under the existing 294 corridor, or does 294 sit high enough above grade to just adjust the bridge structures?
I believe there's a little bit of both. I don't know the exact details, but I think they do have to do some digging.
Great. Yeah, I haven't, we don't see a lot of fly unders.
I
so.
know, it's interesting. I'm happy the designer thought outside the box for that. It's really a good solution. Again, and especially on that quadrant, they actually reduced the amount of right-of-way that we needed. So that loop ramp now becomes detention, which is another thing that we heard from the Corridor Planning Council is extremely important to the region.
Great. Another question, did the pandemic change the timeline for any of these projects, shorten the timeline from reduced traffic volumes, or lengthen due to complications caused by the pandemic?
Not currently, no. I mean, I don't think we're necessarily through the pandemic, but through the roughest part, for sure, we were able to keep work going, which was just a testament to all the people that support us in-house at the Tollway, as well as all of our consultants and contracting partners. We were able to really keep things moving at a good pace. We did take a little bit of advantage of reduced traffic, and I don't know if I'm supposed to publicly say this, but it did help us out. We had a delay on the BNSF job, and we were able to actually reduce a lane there based on the reduction in traffic. But traffic is back to just about normal on the tollway, so those days are gone, which is good.
Great. That actually, your comment about the railroad actually transitions nicely into a question I had. Any of us who had projects involving the railroad know that can be one of the bigger challenges. You certainly have a lot of involvement with the railroads on this project. Can you talk a little bit about, like, did you experience delays or issues in working with the railroads? Were they kind of a willing participant in the project?
So they were, believe it or not, BNSF, CN Railroad, UP Railroad, they've been great to work with. We understand that they were here first. And so we approach everything in that way. And it wasn't always easy, but it was always, everyone understood that this was going to be a betterment. We were going to improve things for not only them, but for also us. And they need us just as much as we need them, because our traffic is what's going to get them to the railroads, right? And they're delivering all the packages and things. So they need the road too. We did experience some delays and setbacks with things like they have outage times where they don't allow you to work near the tracks. We had to get a track laying machine for that BNSF job, which we had to schedule a year and a half in advance. So there was a significant amount of coordination. And for us to be at this position right now is just a testament to how much teamwork there has been on both sides.
Great. It's good to hear positive outcomes from all of that. And then one last question is, you highlighted a lot of the successes and kind of unique aspects of the project. I was interested from your role in this project, what have been some of your biggest challenges in kind of keeping this multi-billion-dollar project moving and on budget and on schedule?
Really, it's about relying on the team. And there are just, believe it or not, numerous issues throughout the day. So to say that this project will be delivered without challenges or issues or things coming up is not true. So we just have a fantastic team of people that we're working with that keep things moving. They keep us alerted to the upcoming issues so that we can plan for them and try to prevent them in the future. That's our biggest thing, is even on our own project, because it's in stages, we're taking the lessons learned from the 6 miles that we're working on, or 12 miles, and applying that to the remainder of the corridor. So it really is a unique situation, removing all the utilities on time, of course. Rocco and his group definitely with the planning effort, not only that, but also with the right-of-way and making sure we had all the right-of-way on time. And so it's just been a massive team effort to overcome all the challenges that we typically face on a corridor of this magnitude.
Great. Well, it looks like that was all of our questions from our participants today. Was there anything else you wanted to cover that you didn't share with us?
Well, I'm too much of an open book, Karen, for that question to be posed. But no, this has been a great experience. I appreciate talking about some of the more traffic aspects of the job, because we really kind of, once you design it, everybody's like, oh, well, the traffic part is done. It's like, no, the traffic part continues throughout construction. And so I truly appreciate groups like ITE for the work that you guys do and the innovations that you bring about. So this has been a great opportunity. Thank you.
Great. Well, we certainly appreciate you taking the time to present to us today. I know a lot of us probably have the opportunity to drive the corridor, but getting your perspectives on how the project came together and how it's being phased, those innovations are certainly things we can all learn from and hopefully apply to projects throughout the region going forward. So on behalf of the Illinois Section of ITE, thank you again for your time and your presentation. And we look forward to hopefully seeing you in person at an event in 2022. So thank you to everyone who attended today. As Jenna mentioned, our holiday party with WTS and APWA and some other members will be December 14th. So we hope to see you all there. Stay tuned for more information on that registration, as well as for the annual banquet, which will be held in January. So thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.